Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So we are here today with really an amazing musician, which is James Braddell, Funki Porcini, and from UK. And so, yeah, here is our great friend here. How are you doing?
I'm good. I don't think I'm a musician though.
Actually, I thought you would have said that.
I wish I was a musician. I wish I was. I wish I could really play an instrument, but it's luck if something comes good. It's luck.
And I mean, how did you spend your day? How was your day?
Today's been a little bit awkward because my back is not very good today, and so
I'm sorry.
it's a beautiful day, the first warm day of the year, and I go outside and I look like Quasimodo,
Yeah.
you know.
That's terrible.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I just have to sit down for a bit. So
I'm sorry about that. Yeah,
it's all right. It doesn't hurt when I'm sitting down.
yeah. Well, it's
You can do the
so
first question.
yeah, usually I so people try to introduce, as you say, like I'm not a musician, right? So it's sometimes people see other people in a particular way. So I would like to ask you if you could introduce yourself in a way that you feel and that you don't know you like the most. Something
Yeah, okay, all right.
like
I'll have a go. Um, I'm Funky Porcini, and I think that really the only definition of myself that I am comfortable with now, I suppose, is that I'm an artist, and which is not saying a lot because a lot of people who do amazing, people who do their nails are called artists, and so. I don't know what that means, but what it means is that I do what I want
Yeah.
in the way that I want to do it, and I want to make things interesting for myself. And so I think that is really the key thing. It's really, I recognize that I'm a creative person, but that creativity just got it sort of got stuck with music because I really wanted to be a filmmaker, but music was easier to do on your own. Making films was really hard to do on your own until now,
yeah,
and now you can really do anything you want. But back then it was like the technology was very good for the music, and I got into computers quite early on. So before that, I was always interested in music, but I was making very experimental music and with tape loops running around the room and making our own instruments, and so when the computer came on the scene, it was really like, oh wow, this is amazing. You can do it all in here, and so I took to it very quickly. And then when you could start to use the computer for editing video, I started doing that, and then everything got easier and easier and easier, and more enabling for me in the sense that I didn't have to work with I could do things when I wanted to do them. I didn't have to wait for other people to
yeah.
be ready to do it with me. And that freedom is great. It's really amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We completely feel that. Sometimes it's I mean, we also like making music and sometimes it's very difficult to just, having a project and having a band because there's always someone that has to do something else or, that
Yeah.
maybe it simply has a different
Yeah.
plans or family or work that cannot really, combine with your project. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely relate.
So,
Yeah.
So but I think, before when you thought about the work of an artist, that you thought about the work of a person working alone.
yeah.
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 a painter, a writer, a composer, whatever. They were working alone, basically.
Yeah.
And I think now, that's what the technology has enabled us, is this thing of being able to do it all on your own. So the discipline is more like, perhaps it is more like painting a picture than, you have time to adjust, to modify, to make it better, to make it, whatever. And then realize it's a lot of shit in the first place and you shouldn't have done that one and start again.
Oh, yeah.
And I would like to ask, like, how important you think that was growing in UK as a cultural background for you when you decided to start making music?
I think it was really important. I think that my generation, because we had missed the 1960s, we were too young to join in with that. And so we felt, I think as a generation, that we had to educate ourselves in all the music that had been happening since the war, really, We had to learn all the 50s music, the 60s music. And it was a real kind of an education that was encouraged by your own age group. Yeah, you were expected to know this shit.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And because most of the fashion in English music was really to look to Black American music.
Yeah,
which is what all of those English people in the 60s were doing. They were all trying to imitate Black American music.
Yeah.
And they did, and they made it white, and then they made it acceptable to a white audience who wouldn't have bothered to go and listen to it because it was normally a Black audience. And I think that did that education was a good thing culturally.
Yeah.
And then because I also lived in America for about 3.5 years, and so in America you could actually go to the secondhand record shops and find all the records that you really wanted. Not like in Europe. This is really the real deal. Yeah, and so that but it's life is a constant education.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It doesn't ever end. And, and even now I find people and I think, my God, how come I've never heard of this person?
Yes.
All this time.
Yeah. Especially when when you make your music and, you think about your music. For you, how important is the specific, I don't know, the mood that you have in your room or the atmosphere or something? Where, like, how important do you think is the location you are when you start thinking, start writing, or do you have a specific
Well, I
moment?
think that's a double-sided question, because really it's the space that's going on in your head that is the most important thing, and then of course that is influenced by your surroundings. But I think that with most of my music, the reason I like making things is because I can achieve a kind of a language of emotion that with language I would find perhaps difficult to do it in the same way. And I love the fact that music is ambiguous. And of course, in art, it is the ambiguity that allows somebody else to join in.
Yeah.
It's the only way. In fact, if something doesn't have ambiguity, it's not artistic, it's commercial. Yeah. It's really true.
Yeah.
So the ambiguity allows the viewer or the listener to actually enter into this thing. Yeah. And I do the same thing when I'm making it because it's ambiguous. I'm going, oh my God, that's like this. I don't know what it is that I'm getting really excited about. I'm getting really excited about it, you know.
Yeah.
And if I'm getting excited, then I think other people will get excited too. So it's like not a problem, you know. Yeah.
Yes,
I think that I did when I started out. I made a lot of studios that had no windows and were, you know, the sound was amazing. But now I wouldn't dream of working in a place like that. I want windows. I want to see people outside my window. I want action. I want weather.
Sure.
And if the sound comes in, just use it in the track. You know, fuck it.
yes.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing.
it changed anyway for you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So, okay, nice.
And
Yes.
so we know that you have been living in Italy for around 10 years. And how was working there? And can you tell us a couple of stories about your experience?
Well,
Okay.
when I came, I didn't speak Italian, so I had to. I started work. I worked by teaching English in
Ooh,
a school, um, not a state school, a language school, you know.
yeah.
And so I could earn some money while I was learning Italian, and then I had bought the basis of a recording studio before I came to Italy because my grandmother had died and she left me £7,000, and I spent it all in one day on the beginnings of a recording studio.
Yeah.
So I bought, you know, an 8-track tape recorder, a mastering tape recorder, and some really good speakers that I still have, and a very, very good microphone that I still have. And then after being in Italy for a bit, I met some people, and we had the idea to open a commercial studio in Trastevere in Rome with this
Wow,
friend, right?
Wow.
So I
amazing.
brought the equipment over. We made this studio. We started working and doing commercial stuff, you know, television, voiceovers, all this kind of thing. And we were doing quite well, but then the partner I had he
Oh,
died of cancer very, very sadly,
Oh,
I'm
much too
sorry about
young.
that.
And so, and then the big job that we had that was keeping us all alive was from a government company. And when Tangentopoli happened,
yeah.
the company went, we said, well, when do you want the next thing? Oh, no, we don't know, because their guy was put in prison.
Yeah.
So that all ended, and then I didn't know what to do. I thought, well, I've got all this equipment here. I may as well start making some music again.
Sure.
And then a friend of mine in England, Keir, he was at a crossroads in his life, and I said, look, come to Rome. I've got the studio. We'll make some music. You know, whatever. And so he came over, and then so we started doing Nine Lazy Nine. That was me and him.
Yes,
And
yes.
then after a couple of years, I thought, if I'm going to do music properly, I'm going to have to move back to England.
Yeah.
Because you're in Italy, you're too far away.
Sure. Yeah.
You know.
And it is any specific video, film, or commercial that you really enjoyed making most in Italy?
Well, there was one film, I can't remember what it was called. It was a really funny story. It was about an insane asylum where
Oh,
Acid.
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 it's called Acid.
Yeah.
They all take LSD and they take over the place. Yeah, well, we did the sound effects for that.
Yeah.
At a certain point, I don't know if there's an operation and this organ gets slung on the floor, right? And we haven't trying so hard, thinking, you know, what the fuck can we do? You know, what's going to make this sound? And eventually, I got a really wet sponge,
Oh
and I
my.
dropped it into an empty bath, and it was perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Why not? That's really amazing.
That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then we worked. I also, just a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
No, it's my phone. It's my phone. Um, another thing we did was we made. I had a friend with two friends. We made this program, and this was we made it was for Rai 3, Rai 3, and it was
Oh, yeah,
yeah, that guy Getzi who had
Yep.
commissioned it. And what we did was we made 14 episodes, and we took all of the old material of the Rye, and we recut it to make new stories. And when Getzi saw what we'd done, he ripped the idea off and did Blob,
yeah.
and we
Okay.
and our program was never shown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, those but they were a lot of fun.
sure.
Use we used Renta and Lucia from the Promessi Sposi as
Yeah.
the protagonista, right?
Oh
They
man.
were getting into situations with other planets, with sci-fi shed and stuff. But they were hilarious. They were really good.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it's super impressive. Did you bring any of this like Italian mood back with you? Like, do you
Yeah,
still yeah.
yeah, yeah. It is a superior way of life. You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
I mean, once you've been educated about food, you're not ever going to lose that. It's like it's never going away ever. And no, I just sort of think I see Italy as really the most mature culture in Europe, in a funny sort of way, because of its history.
Yeah.
It's even mature in its acceptance of human corruption in a
Mm,
funny sort of way. Yeah. To me,
yeah.
it's like it knows it's always going to be present. That it knows that you can't get rid of this aspect of people. So
Yeah.
you have to live with it in a way that harms the least amount of people.
Mm,
Yeah, that's more or less it. But I think that that's more mature than here, where here they pretend that the corruption doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah,
Yes, yes. I mean, we lived in Norway some time ago, and we had a conversation with a friend, and he was like, "Oh well, but politicians are our friends." And to say something like that to Italians is
yeah.
really, really weird. Like to us, it's like we don't really understand this sentence. Like,
Yeah, I know.
are you sure what you're talking about, right? But so we completely get that.
Yeah.
And so you cook Italian sometimes.
Well,
It's all-
they're just about all the time. No, no, that's not true. Actually, I do. There is what I like doing is making use of the good things that are around. Yeah,
Okay.
but that's an Italian idea anyway.
Oh
So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. It's the idea from the grannies. Like
yeah,
you cannot really waste anything in the fridge. You have to make something
and
about.
it's not just that. You've got to make something that tastes really good with it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Absolutely.
totally.
Otherwise, yeah, throw the fucking thing away.
That's perfect. You are 100% Italian. And so, are you working or planning to work on movie making or?
Right now?
Well, at the moment, I'm. There's a man called um, Michael Rayburn, yeah, who grew up in Rhodesia, which then became Zimbabwe.
Hmm.
And he made some very radical when he was younger. He's quite old now, he's about 83. But when he was younger, he made some very radical films about Africa.
Yeah.
And he wants to make another film and he wants to involve me with it. And I'm quite into the idea of working on it. So that is sort of going ahead. I think we're just
Nice.
waiting for funding and things like that. But anyway, so that will be interesting, I think.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Um, Otherwise, I've sort of got bored of most of the things that I normally do.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to always, create something different, right?
Yeah,
Um, and a little bit of follow up. Like you mentioned before that, you wanted to make films like at the beginning, and then there was not the technology. Now with AI, you can basically do everything you want. Are you considering to use something like that to
I
make
just
something?
did. I just did. I just made a video using AI.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
It's
Okay.
you can see it on YouTube. It's called Stampede,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
and it's really weird because I realize a lot of people really they're so anti AI. They're quite puritanical about it. You
Mm.
know, it's really interesting. It reminds me of how people felt about mobile phones when they first arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People thought that if the only people who had mobile phones were idiots. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
and now, of course, that's changed. But I think it's inevitable, and it gets better. When we were making it, the guy I was working with, who'd understood the process a bit better than I did, he said, James, a month ago we wouldn't have been able to do this,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and we know in another month it's going to be even better, and
Yeah.
then and it's going to change the visual language forever. But
Yeah.
it will also, I think, in the hands of artists, be pretty fucking amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And I would like to come back a little bit about your US experience. Like
Yeah,
you've been to LA and then you've been to San Francisco, right?
yeah,
If I'm not wrong. And then you were in this old warehouse of the residents. Am I wrong?
yes,
Yes.
yes. No, this
Okay.
was a really extraordinary coincidence because before going to America, the last record I bought was Third Reich Rock and Roll by the Residents, right?
Yes.
And I was in San Francisco. I was in a boarding house that I didn't like very much, with a lot of other people from all over the world. And I saw an advertisement in the newspaper for a place in a big warehouse flat on Sycamore Street, which was just around the corner. So I went along, and that was the residents had just moved out, and a guy called Philip, who did a thing called Snake Finger, was still living there. A girl called Carol, and a guy called Willie Hayes. And Willie Hayes knew everybody who in San Francisco who was doing something interesting. So
Oh,
it was an immediate route into the whole of the really in sort of the best of the San Francisco subculture.
Oh,
amazing.
It was. I was really lucky,
yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
really lucky.
And did you find any, I don't know, any relics from the residents that maybe, I don't know, you used or or maybe that was, inspiring you? I don't know.
The best thing they left behind was this
Oh,
an enormous fan that was about a meter in diameter, in a cage, and we that was when it because it got quite hot, and we put
Yeah.
that. It's like wonderful. It was being standing on the top of a cliff. That's
At
funny.
least something useful, right? In San Francisco, I think it's very that's nice.
and also, so now there are, of course, like too many instruments that and software that you can do everything with everything you want.
As we were mentioning.
Is Yeah, is there any still any DIY instruments that you used to work with that you're still using?
That I still use? No, no, because I see that period as it was experimenting
Yeah,
with sound.
yeah,
And I feel like I did the experimenting.
yeah, yes.
See what I mean? I mean, and I could have got really interested and built some kind of weird instrument that would have taken years. You know, that's the sort of thing I can imagine myself doing. But I actually, I don't know, and I have just finished, you know, I don't know if you know, I made this thing called the Laserium,
Yes.
which took 4 years to make, you know, but I'm really bored of that now.
Okay. Yes.
It's great to show it, but it's
Yeah,
but I don't have that much interest anymore. I'm moved on to the next thing, and my whole life I think is a series of these getting very excited about something,
Yeah.
doing something with it, and then going, right, done that. Now what's next? You know?
Yeah. Okay.
that's true.
So you don't really miss that part. Like it's something that evolving is, yeah, okay, okay, nice.
No.
Um, and especially you were talking about Laserium, right? So I've seen that you were having a live set in London, right? About that, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, how does it work? Like your live session right now, and did it, change? How did it change in time?
Well, no, it's changed a lot. I mean, because before I never played my own music to a crowd. I would go and DJ
Yeah. Okay.
with records that excited me. And
Yes.
I thought, I want to hear this record really loud, and I want let's all go and make everybody dance to this record. And that was really exciting. I love doing that. But now and then, but I thought, no, I would like to find a way of playing my own music to an audience. And so the Laserium became the way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
Because then it's sort of like it yeah, because you know it's so studio based, my music. It would
Yeah.
be it would be a pretense to pretend I'm doing it live. It would be an impossibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like when you while you watch a movie, like nowadays, uh, or I mean, in the past as well, like, have you ever thought like, man, it would be so much better to add this or that sound here. I would have done in a different way, and I don't know. Do you ever, or you just enjoy the
I'm
film?
a, no, I'm an absolute sucker. I find it really difficult to be critical of a film that I'm watching unless it's badly acted or something.
Yeah.
But I'm there is a part of my brain that is totally keen to be taken in by whoever's made the film and ride their thing. Yeah. Without stepping back and be I can't step back and be critical while the thing's on. I
Okay.
can do it afterwards, but not while I'm watching it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And is there any movie from any period or country that you would really be working on if you could?
Ooh, I don't know. I've never thought about that. I would love to make the music for a sci-fi film,
Yes.
but that would just be because it would be you'd have such freedom,
Yeah.
I think, and that I've always thought would be really fun.
Yes.
But I don't know. And this film that I'm going to be working on, Michael's film, it is slightly science fiction, but it's sort of set in a future.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it will be, but it's yeah, but it's very African. So I'm going to have to learn a lot about music from Zimbabwe
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it would be a very
Yeah.
interesting path, actually. It,
because they've got some really special instruments, you know and so I've been looking at that, and yeah, no, it's interesting. That's interesting.
Absolutely.
is there anything in specific that you've seen, like I don't know, some particular instrument that you have been like, oh my God, what is this? Like,
Well, most of them are like that because
yeah.
they're not. You know, there's a really yeah, I can't remember what it's called now. I was looking at it the other day, and it's a sort of you use your mouth to change the tones of a string, of a plucked string. So it's
Wow.
a little bit like a Jaws harp, but it's a string, and you're changing your mouth cavity to get a different tonality from the
Wow.
string. That was quite interesting. Yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting. Um, well, going a little bit in the still in I don't know what is I mean. Okay, TV. TV programs can be used in any way. Like can be good, can be very bad, can be for manipulation, blah blah. So uh, if you were given the total control of a network. Is there a particular kind of program that you would definitely include in the schedule?
Intelligence. I would just include intelligence across the board. I would stop dumbing down to people. I would want to make things that are a little bit harder to understand, but are done well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah, education, for example, in our TV, there was a lot of educational programs at the beginning, and then when they realized that it was making people actually educated, they realized, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. This is a little
Well, I mean,
different.
that's what you can see it happening in America at the moment. All of the educated people are being pushed out,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and I think we need to fight back, you
True.
know,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and call out stupid for what it is, because this is really stupid.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, the stupidity has got to such a level of craziness that you just think, well, if this is what the human race is like, do I really want to be part of it? I'm not sure, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I also, I don't know if this term exists in English, so sorry about that, but I feel it's like anachronistic, like to have this kind of, yeah, I mean, unawareness, considering how big is the level of education that we should have. Like we
Yeah,
know a lot of things, right? So
yeah,
it's really weird that things happen now in this way. It's so weird.
yeah. It's very. I wouldn't have believed it
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's really
30,
true.
40 years ago. I wouldn't have believed it. But then, I most probably thought that we'd all go to the moon,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, right.
you know,
exactly,
Absolutely.
but
absolutely.
not have mobile phones. And yeah.
Yes, yes,
So, and
So yeah, things pan out very, very differently. I think it's a dilemma for every generation, telling
yeah,
you the truth. Every generation has expectancy.
yeah,
They've had an education of expectancy, and it always fails.
yeah,
yeah,
And then they become disillusioned with the world. They criticize young people because they don't understand how the young people are living. Yeah. So they criticize the young people and then they die. And that is repeated every generation. And
absolutely.
it seems ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true.
You should be building, you think we as human beings, we managed to build a city like Venice.
Yeah.
And then you go to Wolverhampton in England and you think, what the fuck has happened here? You know,
Oh my
yeah.
God. No,
Yes, it's
it's
yeah, we understand what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
I so this is a really different question. Can you tell us about any kind of an artist in any discipline that you find brilliant?
Yeah, James Turrell immediately springs to mind. He works with light.
Yeah.
He's made some of the most fantastic things I've ever seen, I think.
Oh,
And I'm sure that he just immediately comes to mind because he's so really quite unique in what he does, I think. And there are a lot of artists who I have great admiration for.
Yeah.
Not all of them are alive, obviously. But I like, I have this sort of mentality that if something's really well known about, I don't have to know it. I'm always looking for the lesser known in culture.
Yeah.
It's like I'm less interested in Michelangelo than I am in, I don't know, some of the people who sort of slip by, in a
Yeah.
way. It's sort of, you just feel like, oh, well, that's all known about. Everybody knows about that. I don't need to know about that because if I want to find out it, all the information is there.
Yeah.
And I tend to sort of go under the floorboards, and try and find what's hidden.
Yes.
Um, which I think is a kind of, perhaps that's a kind of inverted snobbery. I don't know. Or it might just be my brain going, yeah, you don't need to know about that because everybody knows about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but we completely feel this because I mean also this project, the Orange Spot, is actually part of a slightly bigger project which is called Outlogo, and that we do, and it's about underculture. Like we really like things that are not like in the mainstream, and then
Never mentioned.
and or never mentioned or maybe forgotten, and people just don't really realize that there's a lot of very interesting things that are
Yes.
going around, and
Yes, and it's most of that is down to the ego of the individual.
Yeah.
So I discovered just recently somebody who I should have known about a long time ago, an American singer called Karen Dalton. Okay. I'd never heard of her in my life. And then I listened to her record and I realized how influential she'd been on so many singers, with this really amazing delivery that she has. And so, but the reason that she wasn't really famous was because she didn't care about being famous.
Yeah.
That wasn't her bag. And that's a lot of the people who are really famous, they're more interested in being famous than what they do.
Yeah.
completely.
What they do is a vehicle to be famous with. Yeah. And ultimately, therefore, everything they do is pretty uninteresting, I think,
Yes.
I mean,
So, and as I say, some people get carried by other people. I mean, people who don't have a big ego, and they get lucky and they get carried by other people into a position of fame. But it's not what they really were after.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, and also most of times, I mean, maybe you have something interesting to say, and then I don't know, the mainstream or something arrives and start asking for compromises, and then everything you have interesting is kind of lost. Like
yeah,
you're not like you're just driven by the commercial side of what they want
Yeah.
yeah,
you to do. So it's very, yeah, I think it's part of this, I don't know, like lack of education of everyone. Like it's because I think that sometimes it's very, very difficult to just. I'm not justifying, but it's very difficult for people that come back to work and then say, "Oh, what I would like to do now." It's just a lot simpler to just take a phone in the hand, and then just forget that they are humans, and then can create something. It's so bad because everyone has something, you know, nice maybe, or a little talent that
Yeah.
can be knitting, can be whatever, but it's,
yeah, yeah,
it's something that we really forget because we are
yeah,
tired, and we just bite whatever the TV or whatever the mainstream gives us, and it's so
yeah.
bad. I mean,
And that mainstream is becoming more and more controlled by singular people.
Okay.
yes,
And so there is no. I always remember Frank Zappa talking about the music industry,
Yeah.
yeah,
and he says, in the old days, the music companies were run by old guys with cigars, and they knew nothing about music. And you go in with an idea, and they say, "Well, I don't know. Let's try it. See if it works. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't." Yeah. And then he said, then the music companies started, they thought, well, we ought to get a hippie in the office, let's get a hippie in. He can make the tea and coffee and shit. And then they started asking the hippie what they thought about something, and suddenly the A&R department was born. And Frank Zappa said it made everything worse because now you had somebody who was a gatekeeper saying, we'll do this and this and this. And he said it was much better in the old days when everybody could just do everything, and what got through, got through. And I can see that there is an element of the internet that is like that. Yeah. So that the things of quality do get, they get known about, which is the good thing. The bad thing is the manipulation of the media,
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. But there's no reason why independent distribution should be a problem with the way that things work. So I think it's very difficult to make a moral judgment about it, if you see what I mean. I can see that there are good things, bad things, as with everything.
Yes. Yeah.
But I agree that the mobile phone as a drug is a problem.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, it's a problem for all of us, myself included. I don't exclude myself from that.
No.
It's a problem.
Yeah. Yes. It's just like I think it's very addictive for a number of reasons, and it's simpler. It's just simpler. So sometimes if you, I don't know, yeah, there are ways to make it work, but of course it's it's a problem in a way. So
Yeah.
Yes.
I find it's really interesting seeing how my children deal with it, because they are they're very skeptical of it. They can see just how bad it is. So they both go and try and do different things that are not around the world of the phone. It's and their friends do as well. So I think that's, people are aware. They will change what they do if they want to.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Considering also, like, I'm still about technology, like it's we've seen that you were saying something about the DVDs, something that is a format that merge film and music, if that's right. Yeah, okay. So now in the era of the streaming, of the AI, do you think there is anything that is like comparable to the DVD of what the DVD brought?
Oh, well, the AI is comparable to me getting a computer. It really is. It's like it's the same deal. I mean, it feels it's extremely empowering.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'll have to just add, apparently, yeah. And because after working with it, getting it to make video, you're shooting on about a 1 in 10 rate, yeah. So for 10 videos that the AI produces, you'll most probably use 1, maybe 2, yeah. So the work that you've got to do is a lot to get the response, yeah, of what you want to get. But I think that is going to get easier and easier and easier. And so the only problem is that, it's a bit like techno music. You've got this problem that it's so easy to make, but there are so few people who are really good at it.
Yes.
And you're going to get the same with visual content. And I mean, it is really what slop is. It's just lazy people doing lazy things. And that's what makes it all look so crap. It's not the AI, it's the people using the AI.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
You
Uh,
know?
I mean, it's basically machine learning adapted to normal people that, are not used to code. So this is something that it's basically a script that you have to do very well, like to be sure
Yeah.
that everything goes smooth and in the way that you want it. So it's still tricky to make it
Yeah.
good.
It's very tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when it does it well, you go, fucking hell.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite format to listen to music for you today?
I still like vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
this
still, I have a record player. I still buy records. If there's something that hear, I'll most probably try and buy it as a record
yeah.
Yeah.
if I really like something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Um, yeah, I still like records, and yeah,
Yeah. 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 Yes. I mean, it's nice. I think that we can still, have a full album and say, okay, I want to listen to this, and because sometimes with shuffle or stuff, you lose, the way it is created, right? So it's but yeah, but you have to, be also sometime in the mood to just to say, okay, I want to listen to this, and in a very
yeah,
yeah
yeah.
yes
No,
And
it's funny because I mean, I still can, yeah, I still because when I make a record, I conceive it as a whole record, not as just a selection of tracks.
yeah yeah
But I know that hardly anybody will listen to it like that now.
Mm. Yeah completely.
They'll flick through, go really quick, and then go, oh, I like that one. I'll listen to that one. Yeah,
Yes. Actually, a few days ago, I was really struggling because there was the shuffle mode, and I didn't want the shuffle mode, and I was like
yeah.
fighting with my phone. I don't want the shuffle mode, and it was impossible to remove when it was working. I was like, okay, later. It was bad. I was really struggling. Um,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
yes. And this is a question about, this considering music today. How is it today? Is there any advice you would give to an artist starting today?
God, that's yeah. Well, I mean, the only advice I would say is you just have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do, and don't expect to be rewarded for it.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, if you expect to be rewarded from it, you will be very disappointed. But if you carry on doing what you do, you will build up. It does start to build, you know.
yeah,
And I think also that the world uh, views you slightly differently if it knows that you've got a history of creativity and that you carry on creating. The world slowly becomes more interested in you if you're like that, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I feel really sorry for people starting out now because it must be so difficult to gain any kind of following, really, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
yes.
Absolutely. And can you recommend us a book that is really relevant for you?
Oh, um,
If any.
Yeah.
yeah, no, there are lots really relevant for me. Uh,
You can pick more than one.
yeah, well, there's an English writer from the 20th century called Norman Lewis, who I really love. And one of his books is about being in Naples in 1944 during the American
Wow.
occupation.
Wow.
That's a fantastic book. In fact, I would recommend you get that book because it's considered one of the best books written about the Second World War over everything. It's,
Wow.
Yeah,
it's
Okay.
really quite incredible, and it's wonderful.
it's
Wow.
really good to
Thanks.
know.
Nice. Thank
Yeah,
Thank you.
and another book I really well, I'm yes, Norman Lewis. I think I've read nearly everything he's written actually. Um, but I tend to read. now I tend to read to educate myself.
Yeah.
So I don't read fiction
Yeah.
early. I normally want to learn about something. So, and I just read a very good book called The Shrinking Brain:
Mm,
The
Okay.
Rise in the Global Health Crisis,
mm.
Mental Health Crisis,
Yeah.
Yeah.
written by a professor who's studied how food affects your brain
Yeah.
and when a, so the food that a woman is eating before she's pregnant, but literally before she conceives, what she's eating while she's conceiving, and what she's eating while she's breastfeeding, so is so important,
Yeah.
and is one of the reasons why there is so much mental illness now in Western society, because our brains, of course, developed in the sea, and if you don't have the nutrients from the sea in good supply, you won't get a good brain.
Yes.
And
Wow. Yes.
uh, it's really interesting. It's also really interesting how junk food affects the brain.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that it does is it makes it makes people it makes it very hard for them to take criticism.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. Well, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
It is. It was a fascinating book and really, really like, very, very educative, actually. He was also really interesting about our evolution because he was saying that we had to have evolved on the coastlines
Yeah.
because that's where the easy food was. Yeah. And he said, and I, really believe that this is also why, we can swim before we can walk. When we're born we have that waxy stuff over the baby.
Yeah.
Only marine mammals have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No other mammals have that. It's most probably why we have less hair and why we stand on two legs
Sure. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're in the water and we
Yes.
want to get the height. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it really made a lot of sense. And his solution for the world was to start serious um, sea farming,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
and to do it well. And he said there's a guy in Japan who single-handedly over the last 30 years has completely changed this whole coastal bit around this island in Japan because of what he's been doing. And he said, so, it is possible and we can do it. And of course, it was the reason he got interested in food and the brain was looking at statistics in Japan,
Okay.
Sure.
Wow.
where
Yes.
they were eating lots of seafood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yes. Yeah, I also have seen some of this, honestly, only papers about, not really books, but about a lot of these statistics on the food in Japan that are totally, building differently, the
Yeah.
people and bodies in general. So
Yeah.
that's
No,
very
it's
interesting.
really interesting. Just to give you an idea, in the 1970s, this knowledge has been around for a long time.
Yeah,
And what is very surprising is how few people it gets shown to. Yeah. And that's what nobody can explain. But in the 1970s, they were saying, if we don't do something about our diets, we will breed a race of morons. And here we are.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
That's perfect.
um,
Yeah.
I like this, like the way of the like educating ourselves with the reading. I kind of had a similar switch some time ago because I was like into novels in general, but I like decided to go into biographies like quite a lot because I thought I love the fact that I can see this surrounding of a period or something But
Yeah,
looking at the lives, or I don't know, Elizabeth the first or something,
yeah,
something that could, or some musicians, I don't know, the Billie Holiday or something. It's very nice because you are projected in a part of history that you
yeah.
don't know about. So it's I don't know. I feel it was very. I feel it very. It's very interesting. Um, so I wanted to ask a question about your last release of your last album, like Modern
Yeah.
Hymns for Modern Things, and I was very curious. So reply only if you can.
Yeah.
But
I know what she's saying. So.
like I love the title "Nervous Breakdown in Sainsbury." Like what happened? Like,
It's my local shop. No, but it actually referred to I'd gone down to the supermarket
yeah.
and I just was walking down the aisles and I was just looking at the amount of plastic,
Yes.
and I suddenly got really, really depressed, and I actually had to leave the shop
Wow.
because it was just like it just felt so heavy. So it was a little bit relating to that, yeah. But
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, I was interested because I mean we used to live sometime in the UK, so we used to go to Sainsbury's as well. I say what happened, like, but I totally feel this part of like plastic related thing. You cannot really take an avocado without unwrapping. I don't know, 200 grams of plastic. It's so
yeah,
annoying.
but you know what? In France, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yes.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't fucking happen. So every time that the supermarkets say, "Oh, it has to be like this. This is the way it has to be." Bullshit. The French do it, and they do it really well. And it's like I was living in France for a year before I was living here, and it was like you got perhaps 3 bags of lettuce in plastic on
Yeah.
the shelf, and
Yes.
the rest is all loose.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we just cut two zucchinis, and I don't know, they were
Wrapped in
totally
plastic.
wrapped in plastic, and I was like, "Come on!"
And,
Like,
Yeah,
and honestly, it is also difficult to take off.
take it off, like
Come
they
yeah,
on.
yeah,
under
yeah.
vacuum, like
Yeah. It's insane. It is absolutely fucking insane.
Yeah.
it's insane. Like.
Can I ask you what are your plans for the future?
Yeah. To wake up in the morning,
This is enough.
that's enough. I don't know at the moment. I would like to find I would like to sort of find a home for the laserium.
Okay.
That doesn't really involve me and would actually be something where people could actually make their own music for it, understand how it works, and do something exciting with it. That would be nice. I'm going to work on Michael's film this year. If he gets, if it all gets the
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah.
And beyond that, I really don't know.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
No.
Well, first of all, I mean, all the best for your
Cool.
project.
Thank you very much, Francesca.
Thank you for, I mean, we will anyway continue talking a little bit after I close
The live.
the live. And so thank you very much, really, for,
Very nice to be with you.
thank
Thanks
you.
a
It
lot.
was an
Appreciate it.
honor for us. And so thank you very much. And thank you for everyone watching this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.